G'day there guys, my name is Connor and welcome to some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Okie dokie guys, we're on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user KissXT and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for telling my best friend I don't want to hear about her crappy boyfriend anymore? Hi Reddit, I'm feeling really bad about this and need advice. I, female 23, have been friends with my BFF Kayla since we were 11. She is awesome and has supported me through some really tough times, and I've been there for her through a lot of crap too. We've never fallen out, and we always supported each other. Until now. Kayla has been with her boyfriend James for just over 2 years now. I liked him at first, he was good for her. He made her happy, so I was happy. But for the last year or so, every time I've seen or chatted to Kayla, all she has done is complain about him. Some of the stuff she's told me about him is super gross, and I've lost all respect for him, and in turn, I've started losing respect for her. She has also changed a lot since being with him. She used to want to travel the world, explore and experience new things. Now she never leaves her house and wants to be a stay-at-home mother by the time she's 25. It makes me sad to see. She has lost her sparkle. It all came to a head when we went for dinner for my birthday. She spent the whole night complaining about James, as always, telling me way too much personal stuff about him, as always, and just generally moaning. It was after we'd finished our meal when I finally snapped and said I don't want to hear any more about her crappy boyfriend, because everything I advise her to do she just ignores, and I have nothing left to say to her. I told her she should dump him if she hates him so much, and if she isn't going to dump him, then to quit being about him all the time because I don't want to hear it anymore. I had quite a few glasses of wine and was just feeling super bummed because she made my whole birthday dinner about her and her stupid boyfriend. This was 5 days ago and she hasn't spoken to me since. I messaged her the next morning apologizing and asked her if we could meet up to talk about it, but she hasn't responded. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? I mean, yeah, I totally get it. It would be grating hearing that all the time. It might have gone a bit far doing it in a public setting like that, but I have a feeling she probably needed to hear that one way or another anyway. Let's go to the comments. Opie responds to a You're the A-hole comment. Thank you for your comment. I do actually agree with you after reflecting. I haven't even told her that I'm tired of her not taking my advice, and I've never asked her to not complain about him. This was the first time I'd challenged her. I've always been very patient with her and let her complain as much as she wants. This has left me feeling emotionally drained after every time I see her. I should have set boundaries in a calm and mature manner when I was sober. I was just so annoyed that she made my entire birthday meal about her relationship issues. I'd also just found out that I'd gotten my dream job and wanted her to be happy for me. I took out my frustration on her and I spoke to her poorly. Thank you. I am going to try and fix it with her. One comment says, I mean, you took the nuclear option and drunkenly exploded on her rather than having a civil conversation about how the constant complaining was impacting you and your friendship. Of course she's hurt and ticked off. Not to say she's free and clear of taking over your birthday, but she may honestly have no idea how much she complains or how draining it can be for others. The fact that you've lost respect for her means maybe it's time for the friendship to end. If you don't like her and you don't like being around her, what's the point of the relationship? Don't expect her to forgive you for handling the situation like you did, instead of like a real friend would though. Alcohol ultimately didn't make you do this. Opie replies, Alcohol didn't make me do this. I did it because I didn't communicate sooner, and I had a lot of pent-up anger. I shouldn't have spoken to her like that, and I am going to apologize. Another commenter says, You are the a-hole. Get off booze and other drugs. Opie says, I accept I'm the a-hole, but if I want to have a few glasses of wine on my birthday, that is my prerogative. I don't do drugs, and I'm over the legal drinking age. I had 3 glasses of wine on my birthday. Not the a-hole. The best thing you can do is let her be right now. When she's ready to talk, she'll reach out to you. Opie says, I'm worried that if I let her be, she'll never reach out and I'll lose her as a friend. I don't want to lose her, despite her frustrating me with constantly talking about her boyfriend. She is a good person. I was thinking of writing her a letter to apologize and explain how I feel. I don't know. A letter may be a good idea, especially if she's blocked you on social media or is avoiding your messages. Do you have any mutual friends willing to tell Kayla how you feel? Opie replies, she hasn't blocked me, but she's already ignored one message, so I feel like she would just keep ignoring me. All of our mutual friends have dropped her because they can't deal with her complaining. They're all telling me to unfriend her, but I'm not ready to do that. One comment says, is the relationship just bad or is it abusive? Not acting like her usual self, her spark is gone. Those are red flags. If it is an abusive relationship, and emotional abuse very much is abuse, then make sure to leave the door open for her to contact you when she's ready to leave. Abusers isolate and control their victims, and cutting off friends and family is part of the goal. If the support system is gone, it's harder to leave, so tell her that you'll always be there for her if she decides to leave him. That does not mean you have to keep listening to her. Tell her that you're done hearing about this guy and set whatever boundaries you need, but tell her that when she is ready to leave him, you are there for her. Opie says, it isn't abusive. If anything, she's not very nice to him. She doesn't like the guy. I don't know why she stays with him. She struggles with her mental health and he's a very lazy guy, so encourages her to stay in bed all day. He isn't what she needs, but he isn't abusive. Who paid for dinner? Opie says, I paid. It did need to be said, but not in the way it was. I want to apologize for the way I say it, not for how I feel. And another comment says, so let me get this straight. Your best friend of 12 years goes to your birthday dinner empty-handed and you pay for it, and she spends the whole night making it about herself and her stupid boyfriend, and it got you to the point of yelling at her, rightfully so, and now she's giving you the cold shoulder? This girl is not your friend. She's a user. This is not a friendship worth having. I don't care what financial situation it is. If it's your BFF's birthday, you make it work. It's not about money, it's about the effort. If she truly couldn't afford to go out, then she could have made you dinner and a birthday cake and bought a $2 bottle of wine. Opie replies, yeah, I guess that's true. I told her not to get me anything because she's broke. I wasn't expecting anything, but I was expecting her to at least ask me how I am, instead of just talking about her boyfriend. I don't know. Yeah, a bit of an interesting mix of not the a-hole and you're the a-holes in there. What do you guys think? Opie makes an edit 3 days later. Thank you all for your comments. I can see you're all very divided about if I'm the a-hole or not, and I get why. I have accepted that I'm the a-hole for going nuclear when drunk, and I know I should have spoken to her in a mature and calm manner way earlier than I did. She shouldn't have ruined my birthday dinner, but she is struggling and she didn't deserve to be spoken to like that. I've decided to write her a letter apologizing for the way I spoke to her. I'm going to write, very nicely, that I still stand by what I said, and that I love her, but hearing her complain repeatedly about the same issue without taking advice is very draining. I'm going to tell her I want to still be friends, and that I don't want this to ruin our friendship. I will also recommend she goes back to therapy. She had a therapist in high school but ghosted her. If she then reads my letter and decides to end the friendship, then that's up to her. I will be sad, but everything happens for a reason, right? Yeah, onto an update. Let's see. Hi guys, my post got quite a lot of traction, so I thought I would update you all. Firstly, thank you so much for everyone who commented and messaged me, nice or not. It was great to get everyone's opinion. So I wrote Kayla a letter, like I said I was going to in my edit. It felt very formal and weird to do, but for some reason doing it over text felt wrong. I wanted her to know I am sincere. I said that I love her, and I value our friendship extensively, and apologized for the way I spoke to her. I said alcohol wasn't to blame, I was. I spoke to her like an a-hole and she didn't deserve it. I wrote that I've felt frustrated about the situation for a long time now, because it upsets me seeing her so frustrated and upset all the time with the person who is supposed to cherish and respect her the most. I told her that I wholeheartedly believe that she should end the relationship. I said I knew this wasn't my place to say, and that she didn't need to take my advice, and that I would support her in whatever decision she made. But if she decided to stay with him, I need her to stop complaining to me about James and their relationship, because it was too draining for me to hear it. I said, of course, she could talk to me about anything major, but hearing the same complaints on an almost daily basis was exhausting, especially when she wouldn't take or even listen to any advice. I made sure to tell her I loved her, and I apologized again. I actually apologized 4 times in the letter. I put it through her front door the day after I posted on here. She called me yesterday and asked to meet. I went round to her place last night and we talked for just over 2 hours. She told me she actually broke up with James the day after my birthday. Apparently, me snapping at her about it shocked her into realizing how often she was upset by him and how much she complained. She has spent the last few days processing everything, so that's why I hadn't heard from her, which is so valid. She actually thanked me for doing it, which is crazy. She said although I was a bit of an a-hole, it was what she needed to hear. We both cried a lot and hugged it out and then watched 90 Day Fiancé, lol. I think it's safe to say we will be okay. She is obviously struggling because she is grieving their relationship and breakups are awful, but I will support her through this like I always do, because I know that she'll support me when I next get my heart broken. I am single AF right now, but who knows what the future holds. So the TLDR is that me snapping at my best friend at my birthday dinner for complaining about her boyfriend for the whole meal caused her to dump him. I didn't lose the friendship, I actually got my best friend back. I can't wait to support her while she finds herself again. Thank you all again. Have a great day, everyone. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, I was kind of right in the start when I said that she needed to hear it, regardless of how it was said, I guess. Sometimes you need a harsh truth like that to get you to snap back into reality, I suppose. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Alrighty, let's move on to another story. Okay, we're back over on relationship advice. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, "My husband cannot accept I don't like mustard. Things came to a head yesterday." Now guys, yeah, this story has been doing the rounds for a little bit, but it's been so long and there's been so many new updates that I figured I'd just hit it up again. In truth, I can't even remember what happens at the start. Let's go. We've been married 2 years, dating 5. We are both 34. I'm a woman, he's a man, if it matters. I'm not a picky eater. In fact, I'm quite adventurous, and every time I've travelled, I've always made it a point to try dishes with unusual or uncommon ingredients to say I've tried them. There are very few foods I won't eat. One of them is mustard, the condiment. I don't like it. I just don't. The taste is very strong and overpowering, and it's an unpleasant taste. I've tried yellow, stone ground, honey, artisan, brown, spicy, you name it. I've tried them all, and I just don't like them. My husband, for some reason, never understood this. He loves mustard, especially honey mustard. He puts it on all of his sandwiches, dips his fries in it. And every time he tries to force me to try it, he'll insist I'll like it this time. I'm a grown-ass woman. I know what I don't like, and I don't like mustard, so I'll say no and it'll devolve into a mini-argument where he'll call me picky. Well, last night we were on the road home from a weekend trip we took together, and he stopped at a gas station to get us a quick bite. He got a hot dog slathered in mustard. I got one but decided to keep it plain. I don't really love hot dogs to begin with, but I will eat them. While we waited in line, he asked what I got on mine. I told him nothing. He actually got furious and grabbed it from me. He marched over to the condiment station and began putting mustard on my hot dog, telling me to grow up and stop being picky. I just walked out and sat in the car. I didn't even want the damn hot dog anymore. My appetite was gone. He came back and began screaming at me for embarrassing him even further. The word divorce was said for the first time ever. I secretly recorded his screaming because I was genuinely afraid I would die. He was driving erratically, swerving and speeding. I'm in a hotel tonight. He ignored me all day at work, and then the calls started around when he realized I wasn't coming home. Non-stop voicemails and texts. He sent me a screenshot of a Google search for a local divorce lawyer. I haven't eaten all day, and I've been sobbing in this damn hotel room. I don't want to get divorced, and I wish I'd just ate the frickin' mustard. Someone, anyone, please give me an explanation. Am I in danger? Why would he react this way to a preference of mine? I'm completely broken right now. Whew, yeah, forgot how psycho this guy was. Like, bro, chill out, who cares? You like some things or you don't like some things. I think this is pretty obviously less about the mustard itself and more about the controlling nature of him. Let's go to the comments. My ex and I used to fight all the time about how I don't put honey in my tea, but it was never really about the tea. And in your case, it's not about the mustard. It's about how he wants to be able to control every little thing you do and how angry he gets when he can't. Things would not be better if you gave in and started using mustard. Your husband would find something else to nitpick and bully you about because he's a control freak. This is obviously not about the mustard. I can't begin to guess what went through your husband's head that resulted in this behaviour, but the behaviour is here and needs to be addressed. He ignored your wishes, screamed at you in public, drove recklessly in anger, gave you the cold shoulder, followed by non-stop harassing you, and threatened you with divorce in the most juvenile way possible. Even if you get to the bottom of whatever set off this parade of horribles, what's done cannot be undone. You are in danger. He's not the person you thought he was. Get out now. Quote, I was genuinely afraid I would die. Keep that in your mind. His behaviour is unstable. Why don't you want to get a divorce? Why don't you want to protect yourself from someone who screamed at you and made you afraid of him to the point of leaving to a hotel? When people show you who they are, believe them. It doesn't matter why he did it or what it was about, but about someone making threats against you, bullying you non-stop. Even if he is ill, mentally or physically, it does not give him the right to say or do these things. He wants power over everything you do. Your right to be acknowledged and respected is non-existent in this relationship. If you can get some support, I would find that person and get away from this angry man. There's got to be more going on here than mustard. Things just don't escalate from mini arguments to full-on screaming rages and divorce lawyers. But it's pretty simple. You said no. He does not respect your no. He does not respect your right to say no. He does not respect your right to make your own choices about food. Does this lack of respect carry on into things other than your no to mustard? Opie says, yes, it will usually take him at least 3 times to acknowledge when I say no. Yeah, plenty of red flags there. Okay, Opie updates the next day, titled, I can't respond since my post got deleted. Sorry. Some answers, I guess, to the questions I saw. Regarding when I said no to sex, he respected if I said no to having sex, but he would ask for blowjobs over and over. I used to give in at first until I started dreading doing it. He tried buying all this stuff to make me like it, to make it easier or whatever. I used to like blowjobs. I don't like giving them to him, but he'll still ask over and over. I started responding with, I said no, are you going to force me to do it? And he'd get squeamish and offended that I'd implied he would assault me. If I have a support system, no. I've always been a very small circle kind of person, and I lost touch with casual college friends. My friends are his. It makes me feel like a loser, but I don't really have friends of my own. My parents are dead. My dad died when I was a teen, and my mum passed recently of heart failure. I have no siblings. I'm financially capable of living on my own, and I could pay for a divorce. I just really didn't want things to be this way. The mustard thing was always just an annoyance to me. I didn't consider it a deal breaker, but obviously it is for him. We have no kids and no equity. Our finances are separate, save for one joint account we equally contribute to for bills. We were looking at buying a house. I'm safe. I'm at work and I'm staying in the hotel until further notice. He has continued to text. One message said that he loves me and doesn't want to lose me, but I've forced his hand by refusing to communicate or come home. I haven't answered. I don't know what to say. I forced myself to eat my favourite takeout last night, but it tasted like cardboard. I stayed up late compiling a list of every time he has shown worrying behaviour. I guess the mustard is the tip of the iceberg. Opie adds a comment. An addendum, I suppose. I do very much love him, and he has been my best friend for years now. I really do, I guess did, plan to spend my life with him. I'm not afraid of being alone, but I don't want to be lonely. I wish my mum was here. Now for an update. Titled, Thank you all for being so kind. A quick ramble before bed. Sincerely, thank you all for your kind words, as well as sending me links to resources. He has reverted back and has told me that he never wants to see me again, so I suppose that gives me time to read that book that someone on RA suggested to me. I forget the name. I will admit, while I was at work and thinking of the lonely room waiting me after 5, I considered just going home, but I knew what awaited me. I'm too drained to muster up the kind of apology he would be expecting in order for things to go back to normal. I honestly fear that our normal is detrimental to me. I also don't want to apologize. I don't think I did anything wrong, and you all helped validate that. I always felt like I was the one disturbing the peace. He'd get so upset over things that were little to no effort for me to just do or go along with because I loved him, and somewhere along the way I think I lost myself. I never liked mustard, I never liked golf or camping or red wine, but he loves all of these and wanted me to love them too. He said he was introducing me to his hobbies so that we would have shared interests as a couple, but I've realized that out of all the things I used to like, he has either refused to try or ignored my interest. Our shared interests are just his. God, how do I feel like my own person again? My world broke not 2 days ago, and now I'm drunk at a hotel bar switching between Reddit and researching divorce lawyers. I still don't want to divorce. It's so permanent. I never pictured myself a divorcee. I used to think that every choice I made deliberately. It used to be a point of pride for me, but he's making this choice for me, and it hurts. On to another update, 5 days later. It's titled, I'm leaving him. First of all, I took this week off at the encouragement of my employer. I plan to spend it finding a therapist that specializes in domestic abuse and sexual assault, which I've come to realize I am a victim of. I feel completely numb. I'm also looking into a divorce lawyer. Secondly, he found the hotel where I was staying. I guess he followed me from work. He was waiting in the lobby. God, my heart skipped a beat when I realized that I did not miss him at all. I was afraid of making a scene. I need to unlearn that. So I sat with him in the lounge area and talked. I'll summarize it. I pointed out the security camera and said if he tried to hurt me, there'd be footage and I would press charges without a second thought. He was completely shocked and said he'd never hurt me. I reminded him how I feared for my life in the car. He ignored me. He asked why I wasn't coming home. I was completely blank-faced when I told him, because you're divorcing me. He said he didn't mean it and was just upset. I said, when normal people are upset, they express it in a healthy way. You threatened the end of our marriage. I'm taking you seriously. He got ticked and asked if I was saying he wasn't normal. Honestly, I just wanted the conversation to be done, so I told him if that's really all he heard, then there was no point in talking anymore. I told him I was looking for a lawyer, and he should probably do the same if he hasn't found one. He lashed out and said, all this over one mistake? And I just stared at him. As I made to stand up, he grabbed my wrist hard and I pointed at the camera again. This just made him angrier. He could never handle slights to his ego. One mistake. It wasn't one mistake. It was a pattern of abuse over years. It was threatening me, intimidating me. I told him if he tried to contact me again beyond sending me his lawyer's details, I'd be calling the police. He let me go. I want to say I was cool and celebrated in my room. I collapsed onto my bed and began sobbing. I was just so sick and angry and sad. He truly doesn't care about me. I've been crying on and off while calling local therapists. God, why is it so hard to find one? The amount of therapists that advertise but turn out to not be accepting new patients is unacceptable. I've looked into victims of DV and DA support groups as well. In the span of less than a month, my life is completely changed, and he isn't remorseful at all. He just thinks it's all my fault. Opie adds, I will probably move. I saw my RA post get reposted on Twitter. I'm terrified he'll see it and come for me. A lot of people commenting on it were saying he would try to kill me, and I believe them. Yeah, without a doubt, this guy seems dangerous or completely oblivious to his actions. Probably both. On to another update, about 3 weeks later. I have a divorce lawyer. That's all I'm comfortable with revealing on here for the time being. I will also mention that I have moved locations. I am safe and secure. My work has allowed me to go fully remote. My soon-to-be ex does not have my location, nor are there any trackers on my phone. I am in contact with people and organizations who are helping me. Earlier this week, the calls and texts really ramped up. I was advised to leave him unblocked and simply muted so his messages would come through. I read a few since I was curious. He wanted me at Thanksgiving dinner with his family. He begged me to stop being this way, and what was he supposed to tell his family? Well, Thursday came and went. I had bought a couple of ready meals the night before, so that was my feast. I do want to take a break here to talk about my mum. Since it was only 3 of us every holiday, except the rare times friends would come over, my mum wouldn't make a turkey. She would buy a rotisserie chicken and dress it up with stuffing, etc. She'd make dishes we loved, rather than traditional Thanksgiving dishes. My favourite side dish of all time was French fries. My dad loved grilled asparagus with cheese, so we would have a rotisserie chicken with French fries, asparagus, and some garlic toast, my mum's favourite. The first time I had real traditional Thanksgiving food at a friend's house, I apparently told my mum loudly I didn't like it, and asked where the fries were. Haha. So this year, instead of my soon-to-be ex-husband's family's Thanksgiving food, I bought asparagus, fries, garlic toast, and a couple of slices of rotisserie chicken. It wasn't half as good as my mother's meal, but when I say I cried eating it, it felt like they were with me that night. I guess my absence at the dinner forced my soon-to-be ex to tell his family that I was separated from him. So Friday morning I got a phone call from an unfamiliar number. I answered it thinking maybe it was my lawyer's home phone or another person I was in contact with. It was my mother-in-law. She begged me not to hang up on her, so I stayed on the line. She went on about how I was her daughter. She loved me, her son loved me, and how could I leave him over something so minor? He only told his mum about the mustard, and even then it was a watered-down version that made me look like a neurotic control freak who needed everything my way. According to my mother-in-law, he just made a side cup of it for me and asked me to just try it in the car, and I started screaming I'd divorce him. She then started probing about which lawyer I was seeing and what I had told them. She also reminded me that lying in court was a crime. My lawyer had warned me to not reveal anything we had discussed to his family. It took all my willpower not to say anything. Instead, I hung up and muted her number too. She hasn't texted or tried to call again. Trust me, I would have loved to send the recording of her son screaming, saying he ought to smack me upside the head, calling me a stubborn bee, that he would divorce me, and that he would run the car off the frickin' road if I didn't start acting right. I wanted to scream into the phone that her precious son started this mess and I was simply doing what he wanted. I have come to realize you don't treat someone you love like the way he has acted. Normal people don't want to have sex with someone who has already said no. Normal people don't keep pushing and obsessing over food preferences. There is something seriously wrong with that man. He texted me last night, on Friday, calling me a bee for making his mother cry. He also said he would come find me, and it would take more than a locked door to keep him from getting me and taking me home. I forwarded those to the right people. I know this isn't a happy update, but things are moving along quite nicely. Yeah, I suppose the silver lining here is that he's giving the court all the evidence they need to realise what kind of person he really is. On to another update, 2.5 months later. I am okay. I moved. I will not say where, but I have found a new home. My job let me stay on as a permanently remote. I can't go into details about my divorce or other current legal proceedings, but I can say I was granted a protective order due to something that happened back in December. Due to the nature of what happened, I was hospitalized for a time. That was what I guess made me realize I wanted to get the F out. I traded my car, had my phone checked for tracking apps and devices, and changed my number. He cannot contact me or have anyone contact me on his behalf. I am now several hours and state lines away from him and his wretched family. I moved with only 2 suitcases and a duffel of my stuff. I cannot wait to furnish and decorate my new home the way I always wanted it. I am in therapy and I have a survivor support group I see weekly. I will be okay. I feel like I can finally breathe. Yeah, great update. Now straight to another one 9 months later. Hello, it's been a while. I'd sort of forgotten about this account until I saw screenshots of my posts uploaded to Instagram. Some key points. I am still going to therapy, individual counselling and bi-weekly group meetings for victims of domestic violence. I am absolutely not dating. I saw some comments that said they hoped I found a fairy tale man. That's the last thing I want or need. I strive for independence and self-love before I consider finding a new partner. It'll probably be years before I'm ready, and that's okay. I have discovered a love of cooking and trying new cuisines. I didn't realise how boring my ex's taste was until I escaped him. Slathering mustard on a $2 hot dog does not mean you have superior taste buds. Sorry, I had to get a jab in somehow. Nothing new or dramatic has happened, and that is the way I like it. What matters is I'm alive and I'm happy. I didn't realize how little I'd made myself until I was given the space to be. That's all I'm willing to give for my update right now. Peace and love. Opie comments, "There's nothing wrong with being a picky eater, but I'm actually not. I'm finding I love a huge variety of flavors and ingredients. My soon-to-be ex was actually a very, very picky eater, I'm coming to realize. Maybe some projection on his part." Okay, I told you guys there was heaps of updates. This is the last one so far, and it's 1 year and 8 months from the original post. It seems that I just can't escape my story, haha. I was getting ready for the day when my TikTok feed showed a podcast reading and reacting to my story. I'm here to reassure all of you that I'm okay, alive, safe, and free. And with that stress and anxiety mostly cleared up, I feel like I can finally put to words my emotions. I was very small and skittish during the abuse, and for some time after leaving. I'm not sure how else to put it, but I felt like I had to be small. I was constantly regulating and accommodating. It was horrible in retrospect, but no one prepared me for the emotional turmoil that ensues once you're safe and away. I felt rage like nothing else. I would spend hours screaming and crying into my pillow, hating him, wondering how dare he treat me like that. As therapy and my support group has worked to rebuild my self-esteem, I've become more and more outraged on my own behalf. I read Why Does He Do That? And while it helps provide context to why he abused me, it still doesn't make me feel less angry, I guess. I'm angry for myself as a human being. He treated others with respect but thought I deserved all that he did to me, and that makes me angry. Of course, there was relief, sadness, and all of that. I think I slept for days straight after I left. I was in a daze. My therapist reassured me that all of this is normal. I don't want this update to be negative, not in the slightest, so some good news as well. My therapist recommended yoga and Pilates, and it's been great for me. The release of a deep stretch, being in shape, feeling strong, it all has helped me massively. I feel healthy, and yes, I cry when I do hip opening stretches, haha. Also, I made friends, real friends. I joined a local women's club, part of my neighbourhood, and we do various activities bi-monthly. This next week we'll be doing a little embroidery project. Everyone brings snacks and we just enjoy each other's company. TLDR, I'm alive, I'm angry, but that is part of healing. But I'm working on being happy. Also, I will never ever eat mustard again, or be pushed into doing anything I said no to the first time. And a final comment from OP. He did not do jail time. He went to mandated counselling and that was considered legally acceptable, equivalent to jail in our state. Trigger warning, sexual assault. He assaulted me. That's the catalyst that resulted in me moving and our divorce moving along properly. He was trying to impregnate me. He told me that. Wow, what an absolute piece of work. And no jail time after those comments? Deplorable. Like he assaults her and all he has to do is go to counselling? Make it make sense. It seems like Opie's doing well though, and that's great. Let's read some final comments. The scary thing is, he's still out there, free. Because it's an important fact and wasn't said by anyone that I caught, that final comment is a brazen reminder that SA is not ever truly about sex, it's about control. That was her ex shooting his final shot at controlling her once and for all. In his tiny little mind, he was forcing her to be his wife, whether she wanted to be or not, and she clearly didn't want to be. I'm so curious about if the mother-in-law found out about everything with the legal proceedings. The ex is one of those disgusting abusers who gets really upset about their image getting hurt, but have no problem with acting in a way that would hurt their image. Yeah, 100%. Absolute scumbag. Anyway, we're going to leave that one there. I'd love to hear your thoughts about that one down below. And I'll make sure to keep an eye out for an inevitable update in about 6 months. Anyway, let's move on to another story. Okay, jumping over to Petty Revenge, this one was written by user Mayu Mochi, and it's titled, I told a family that stole my water bottle that I had an STI. Context: I, 22 female, work at an amusement park during the summer holidays to make some extra cash on the side. My job role involves checking people's tickets, placing them onto the ride, checking some safety restraints, and watching over the ride course in case of an emergency happening. While I was checking the safety restraints, I noticed that one of the customers had stolen my water bottle. The man stole my water bottle and passed it to his wife, who then gave it to their child daughter. I briefly noticed it happen out of the corner of my eye. I don't know what came over me. I guess I was just tired due to having to deal with countless tired, exhausted, and cranky guests, and I thought that the family needed to learn a lesson to not steal people's water bottles. I walked up to the man and told him that he shouldn't have stolen it. He looked panicked and apologized, and asked if I wanted it back. I declined, and I said that for his information, I have mouth herpes, before showing him a mouth ulcer I had. Not from herpes, but from accidentally biting my mouth while eating. He looked panicked, and then told his wife, who broke down sobbing, and she called me an a-hole. While telling my friends and family about this, they all seemed rather split. Some of my friends thought it was a really funny prank to pull, while a lot of others and my family think that while the family was in the wrong to steal my property in broad daylight, I shouldn't have given the family such a scare from a serious disease. Some questions I got asked on the original post and I couldn't answer. Was it a disposable or a refillable water bottle? It was a $10 refillable water bottle. I remember a commenter asking on the original post if it was a Stanley or another trendy water bottle of sorts. It isn't. I don't get paid enough to afford a glorified $50 cup. How do you know he stole your water bottle? Is it possible he thought it was lost? Well, my water bottle has a rather unique design. I got it while on vacation in Japan, and the design is very cute, definitely kid-like to some extent, which could explain the reasoning as to why he stole it. I doubt he thinks it was lost property, because why would you drink out of a water bottle that you're going to return to lost property anyways? Where was it located? While the ride is operating, I stand near the electrical booth, close to the ride exit. The bottle is located in a small corner in a rather obscure location. If someone were to try and take it, they would have to go on the ride to access the exit, and since you can see the exit from the entrance queue, the family would have definitely seen me drink out of it at least once. Also, other than the occasional 2 minutes I'm away, I'm always either standing near the bottle or holding out of it or drinking from it. Yeah, I mean, cruel or not cruel, this is a great way to teach someone a lesson. Like, I reckon there's a 99.9% chance that they'll never do that again. But who knows? I mean, who drinks from someone else's reusable water bottle anyway? Those things are absolute cesspits for bacteria. I mean, drinking out of it yourself is bad enough, but grabbing someone else's reusable water bottle and giving it to your kid is such an idiotic thing to do. Let's check out the comments. While you don't actually have herpes, you do have an open sore on your mouth and they chose to drink out of your water bottle. You aren't wrong to put them in their place. It's disgusting they gave an abandoned water bottle to their kid. You may have saved them from future illness. They will never do that again. Who is so unaware that they'll drink from a stranger's water bottle? Personally, they got what they deserved for touching something that didn't belong to them. You never know who has some spreadable disease, so taking and using something that other people put their mouths and bacteria on without knowing anything about the owner is their own problem and fault. Maybe you could have chosen some other problem to scare them with, but then again, why is it your problem? I could see arguments being made about how the kid didn't know any better, but you're not the parent to that child. A responsible parent would not grab some rando's water bottle to give to their kid. The people giving you grief over scaring the family are themselves the same type of thieves that stole your water bottle in the first place. Yeah, sure, what they did was wrong, but you shouldn't have scared them like that. Well, here's a thought. Don't steal other people's stuff and you won't have scares like that. Karma can be a bee sometimes, so don't invite her over to play if you can't handle how she hits you. Yeah, 100%. Opie makes an edit. Holy frick, this blew up. I think some people asked me some more questions, so I'll answer them here. Did I tell them I was lying? Nope, which may make me an a-hole, but I think they really need to learn their lesson. I've had serious illnesses in the past that, if passed to a kid, could really harm them. I think I had pneumonia early February, and I did have strep throat last year in August, which can lead to meningitis and scarlet fever, which is not fun to have. How did you afford a trip to Japan but not a Stanley Cup? Well, I can't afford a trip to Japan too. My parents paid for the trip in full because it was a family vacation. I spent like $500 total, and I was saving up for months for that. Work hard, kiddos. And why didn't I want it back? It wasn't a super expensive water bottle, and I could always buy another one. Also, I don't know what sort of diseases the family has, considering that this might not be the first time they've stolen a random person's water bottle. I don't want to risk catching whatever they've got if this is a habit of theirs. Also, this post served as a reminder that I should probably get tested for STDs myself, so thank you so much for the commenters for reminding me that I should probably get that checked out soon. Yeah, and let that be a reminder to you all out there listening as well. You nasty, nasty people. Just kidding. Anyway guys, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.